In this video, we're going to be digging deep into Laravel. We're going to be looking at notifications, how to actually send notifications to your users through the database or through the mail. But for this video, we're going to be looking at the database. Then in the next video, we're going to look at how you can actually send emails to your user from your application. Then we're going to look at how to actually notify your users through email. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is create a fresh Laravel application. I've already done that. Let's just go ahead and run this application. So right here, I'm just going to say PHP artisan serve. And this will start our local server for our development. The next thing we need to do is to actually create a notification class. Okay, we need to generate a notification class. So to do that, we're going to say PHP artisan make notification. Okay, and right here we're going to give a notification name. Now for the scope of this tutorial, I'm just going to say I want to send an email. I want to send an email to a user that just registered on my application. So I'm going to call this welcome notification. Okay, let's just notification. Yeah, let's just get the spelling correct. Notification. Yeah, so let's just click enter, and this will generate our notification for us. And if you notice right here, in our app, you can see the notification folder has been created, and we have the welcome notification class right here, which has been generated for us. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to actually create the migration for the notification, because I told you earlier that we're going to be notifying our user from the database first. So to actually do this, we're going to be creating the notification migration. This will be PHP artisan notifications class not make notifications, and this will be table. Okay, so let's just enter that. So you can see the notification, you can see the migration has been created, and you can see everything right here. So let's just close this. Let's close everything and run our migration. I've actually created a database for this, and I've actually configured my env file to actually use the database. So let's just go ahead and say PHP artisan migrate. So this will create all our tables in the database. So that has created all our tables, and if we go ahead and check right now, you can see all the tables right here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to actually go over to our notification class and actually define some properties. So right here in our notification class, let's just bring this down. Now this is the construct method. This is where we're going to define some basic properties, the properties that we can actually add to our data that is being saved into database. And right here on the VR, we can now say the channel. We can choose a channel that we actually want to notify this user from. Okay, by default it is through mail, but I said we're going to be using the database first. And right here we can just do slash, and right here we can just do delete this and actually say database. Okay, now if we want to use the database and mail together, we can just do mail. Okay, but for now we're going to be doing database. In later videos we're going to be using mail too. So for now, this function, we're not going to be using this function. This is actually the email that will be sent if we actually going to be using the mail function, but for now we're not using the mail, we're using the database. And of course you can customize this, so that's why I said for now let's just focus on the database. Then in next video we're going to look at how you can send emails from your application. Then after that, then we can now look at sending email notification. Okay, so the next method right here is the toArray method. This toArray method will actually save everything within this method. Everything we return in this method will actually be saved within this data column. Okay, this will hold everything. Okay, so let's just go ahead and define some basic properties right here. So the first thing we need to define is the user, the user that is being created. I need to collect the user information. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is basically I need to define some public variable. So this will be a public variable. So this will be public, and right here we're going to say $user. Okay, and right here we're going to do this, and this will be user, which we're just referring to this user right here. Then we need to accept the user that is being created, the object of the user that is being created. So this will be user $user. Okay, and right here this user will be $user, where we're actually referring to this user variable right here, not this user variable. Okay, hopefully you get this. Then if we should scroll down, we need to define some data that is actually going to be saved into our database. Now the first thing we need to define is the created user, the user that is actually being created. Okay, the user object that is actually being created, we need to actually save that. Mind you, this is my own way of doing notification. I've been doing I realize this is like the easiest way to actually do this. So this is my own way of doing it. You might have watched other videos that is actually different from this. We all have our ways of doing this, and this is my own way of doing it. Okay, so I'm going to say this is equal to $, this, and this will be user. Okay, and the next thing is the next thing I define is the set of people that is actually receiving the notification. So by default, Laravel will create a different column for each user. That means we can have collection of users that is actually receiving the notification. That means you can send the notification to more than just one user. Okay, by default, Laravel will create a column for each of those users. Okay, and what I do is I just collect all the data, all the objects of those users in an array. Okay, so let's just go ahead and define those users. Okay, and that's the notifiable, those users that are actually going to receive those notifications. They are the $ notifiable. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense to you, and I'll call this receivers, and this will be $ notifiable. Then another thing I do is I define the action that just happened. Okay, this notification is meant to be for welcome users. We're actually welcoming a user into our application. So what I'm going to call this action is welcome to our website, or anything you want it to be. So this will be welcome to our website. Mind you, this might not be the way another developer is going to show you. This is just my own way of doing things. Okay, so the next thing we need to do right here, let's just import this class right here. Let's just import this, and basically this is all we need to do. By default, Laravel adds the notifiable trait to the user object. Okay, so that the user can be notifiable, because at the end of the day we are notifying users. Now if you have another module that you actually want to notify, probably you created a customer module or an account module, and you want to notify them, just go ahead and use that trait. Okay, you can find this on the users, and you can see the notifiable right here. Okay, you can see the notifiable right here. Then this is all you need to add to a model to be able to notify those model. Okay, let's just go ahead and close this. Now that we've defined all this, let's just go ahead and create a user. Then after creating the user, we fire the notification class. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create a new probably a new controller. So let's just say php artisan make controller, and we're going to call this should be controller, and we're going to call this the user controller. Okay, So let's just create this controller. So right here on let's just open this. Now you can see the controller right here. So let's create the store method. Store method. Okay, now right here I'm going to be coding all this. I'm not actually going to be getting the store from the data from the request, so I'm going to be coding all this. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create a new instance of our user object. So this will be new user. Okay, and right here I want to if we check our user migration, so if you check our database, then the migration, then the users, you can see a user have a name and an email, then a password, right? Okay, so this is all we need to do, define. So right here we're going to say user name. So this will be probably code it me. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to define an email for the user. So this will be email, and this will be code it me at gmail.com. Okay, the next thing we need to do is to actually define the password. This actually should be a semicolon, because we're not defining an array. You guys probably saw that. So the user, and this will be password, and right here we're going to probably encrypt. So we're going to use the bcrypt method. So, and this will be probably password. Okay, so at the end of the day we want to save this user. Okay, this method will actually create that user now, and then we need to actually call on the notification, because we can you can use observer for this, because when you're actually creating the when the created method is being called on, you can use observer to actually create the notification. But since this is just like a video, we can actually call our notification right here. Okay, so to do that we need to just define notification. Okay, and right here we want to send a notification, right? And first we need to define the list of users that will receive the notification. You can see it right here, notifiable. So we need to define the users that will receive the notification. Probably we can decide to send notification to all the users that a new user a new user just registered. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that. So we're going to say $user, let's just say receiver equal to user all. Okay, and this is all we need to do. So we've defined our receiver. The receiver is going to be all users. I told you the notifiable is a collection of users. Okay, collection of users modules that we actually receive those notifications. Okay, so let's just go ahead and say receivers, and right here we need to pass that variable. Right here we need to pass the variables. So let's just say $receiver first as our notifiables. You can see the notifiables right here. Okay, this we're passing the collection of all the users as our notifiable. That means for all the users in this application will actually receive the notification. Then right here we need to pass the notification that we just created. So this will be new. We need to pass a new instance of that notification, and this will be welcome notification. Okay, so by default welcome notification takes an argument which we've defined right here in our construct method. So if we should go ahead to the welcome notification, you can see it takes an argument right here, which is the user that we just created. Okay, so let's just go ahead and pass that user, which is $user, which is this variable right here, user. And basically this is all we need to do. Now when we create a new user, now these users will receive the notification. Okay, since this user is part of the collection that we're actually sending this notification to, that means this user will actually receive the notification. Okay, so probably we might want to change our notification test right here to probably new user. Okay, probably we can do it like this. Then let's just go ahead and try this out. Okay, to actually try this out, let's go over to our route file, so web.php, and let's just create a get method. Okay, so this will be get, and right here probably let me just show you this real quick. This is actually a old syntax for actually returning view. To actually return this, you can just do route probably this will be view. Okay, the URL will be the root URL, and this will be welcome. This will be welcome. So this is like a shorter way of doing this instead of creating a callback then returning a view. Okay, so right here we can just say user, and right here we want to do the user method. Okay, so let's just do user controller, and right here we want to use the class, and this is an array. That means we can now use the store method. Okay, this is all we need to do, and let's just go ahead and test this out. Okay, so right here in our browser, so this will be user, and this should create a new user for us. Okay, we're not getting any error. That means probably this actually works out. So let's go over to our users method, users table. You can see the user has been created. So let's go over to our notifications. So probably in our notification, let's check that out. Notifications. Yeah, so we only have one users in our database, and you can see the notifications has been added. Okay, so let's just go ahead and see this. You can see this right here. You can see all the data that we define. The created user, you can see the name of the created user, and the receivers, you can see the name. So let's just go ahead and create more users and actually see how it's going to work. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create a new more users. So by default the email is unique, so let's create a new email. So this is sonawap at let's just say coditme.com. So let's just call this sonawap. So basically after creating this user, now we're going to have two users in our data, two users in our application. Then this will notify create this will return two users right here. Then we're going to notify two users. First is the coditme, second is the sonawap that we just created. Okay, so let's just say right here, let's just say let's just call this another notification. So let's just call this another notification. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and run this again. So we're not getting any error, and if we check this, two new notifications should have been added, and you can see those two new notifications right here. Okay, and the notifiable ID is actually the user ID. So we're having two, and the first user we created will receive two notifications. First is the first one we created, and second is the second one, and you can see the created user right here. Now let me just expand this. You can see the created user right there, and you can see the email is actually different. Okay, so this is how to create a database notification. And when you're actually taking your users, so let's just create another method where we're actually going to get the users with their notification. So public, let's say public function, and this will be index. Okay, right here we actually want to get the users. Okay, so let's just create another route, and this will be users. And right here we want to use the index method. So let's go over to the index method, and right here we want to probably say $users equal to user, okay, all, okay, and let's just return $users. Okay, this is all we need to do, and let's just go over to the route now, and right here let's just say users. Yeah, so you can see all the users that has been created. Now let's get all these users with their notifications. So we're just going to say